This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to another Can Crusher Spotlight. I am your host, Mr. Mark Martinez. Yeah, you can drop the Mr. It's just Mark most of the time. Yeah, you see me out and about. Guys, I'm really excited for my guest this week. The Culmination is going to reset IWC. And will it take place this Saturday in Elizabeth, February 22nd, at Ignition? I don't know. They're not on any of the posters. Justin Plummer's probably going to have to fix that real soon because these guys are going to stir some shit. They really are. Atticus Cogar has the reset button, but I'm thinking this is going to be a freebird rule once they win a title. They're going to be able to exchange everything going on, but let's get to my guest. He is, like I said, part of the Culmination. He's the mind eraser. It's Remy LaVey. Guys, I have so many questions for Remy. I really do. What's going on with the Culmination, who the real leader is, anything and everything. I've gotten your questions, and they are coming at Remy. Hopefully he doesn't pull any punches, and he answers them all. But first, we always have to do what we have to do. We have to talk about our favorite clothing. It's collar and elbow. Guys, I can't stop wearing my Macho Man shirt, which is actually Head and Al Snow in the Macho Man glasses, but it's in the wash all the time because I'm wearing it all the time. It's unbelievable. Hats, hoodies, tees, all the clothing is unbelievable. I have a hoodie on right now, just my normal black on black hoodie. I love it. I really do. And we can save you some money by using our promo code. It's all one word. It's Can Crushers. Holy shit, can you imagine that? Yeah, it's Can Crushers. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers, and you'll get an extra 10% off. We're going to send it over to Al. He's going to tell you more about collar and elbow, and then we're going to come back with the mind eraser, Remy LaVey.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. Oh my God, this guy, his partners are going to run IWC. They have the reset button in Atticus Cogar's hand. He is part of the Culmination. He is the mind eraser. He's Remy LaVey. Remy, welcome to Can Crushers.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know I had to do some swindling to get you on the show. You guys are not much talkers outside the ring. You do all your action inside the ring, right?
Yeah, I think we definitely preached it. The vibe that actions speak louder than words. We usually handle our business with our actions.
So,
but nonetheless, I had no problem. You guys seem okay.
All right, good. So I'm not on your bad side like some of your other friends that used to be friends that we'll get into. Don't worry about that.
I'm very laid back. Unless you you cross me or one of my brothers, I'm pretty easy to get along with, I think.
Good. So Coker holds the reset button from Reloaded last month. And without giving away any of your plans, not that you're going to give them away to us or anybody else, do you have one target, multiple targets? Is it something that can be held on to? I know it's Atticus's, but you guys all are together in this. You know, you guys, with one person, you could be the Freebird rule of the IWC holding that title from Jack Pollock.
Exactly. I think that, we operate as a group, as a family, but individually we all support whatever the greater cause will be, show to show. And right now, Atticus is killing it. He's tearing it up. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And when any of my brothers need me, I'm there. So that's the current mission. I mean, when Atticus and Otis showed up and I brought the Culmination to IWC, the goals were a little different, but our end result has always been the same. And I think that's total control and the ability to take power into our own hands on our terms. And I think people get it confused sometimes with, is there a leader who, we are all individually pulling the Culmination into the future. Piece by piece, show by show, victim by victim, it's a group effort. And right now, and as you saw last month, the goal and what we all had our eye on was making sure that Addy got that reset button, no matter the cost. So, like you said, I'm not going to give too much of it away, but that's always been the goal, is total control, and this just happens to be an opening that we picked apart, and now Addy is in control. And it's kind of like sit back and watch us do exactly what we said we were going to do.
Yeah, that you actually read my mind on the leader question, because that's brought up every IWC show. Like, now that Addy holds the reset button, and I'm not pushing any button for Remy. Please don't come through the computer or hate me on Saturday. But they say that Addy's now the number one guy, but you just answered that. This is... Yeah, he won the reset button, but it's for the good of the Culmination.
I mean, I'm not an idiot. I mean, Addy is definitely on fire right now. I mean, Addy is next up. I realized that since day one, since the first day I met him, that he was going to be a star. I guess a better way to sum it up is there's no envy as much as there is, there's no jealousy, there's no envy. We are all, on our own path, and the Culmination has kind of allowed us to all take that next step at different speeds, at different paces. We're all at different points in our career, and, everyone's different, everyone's career path, everyone's destination may be different, but because of the Culmination, we've all been able to continue to make waves both as a group with various combinations, interchangeable combinations, state to state. We've been able to also do things on our own and go places on our own as well as together. So I have no problem following Addy right now. He is taking the rung, and we, as the Culmination, like I said, we understand that, hey, if we have to take orders, that's what we have to do. And if we have to follow through on Atticus's wishes, we understand that it's for the better of essentially the family and the Culmination as a whole. So I think that in a lot of times in factions we've seen historically that egos tend to get in the way and destroy the best factions, and that's why there's never been a faction stronger than the Culmination, in my opinion, because we have no egos. we understand that the group is bigger than all of us and wouldn't be anything without each individual part. So while Addy has this chance, there will be opportunities for us all because of this. And Addy will not forget us. And if anyone's thinking about that, I know it's him.
And you had the returning Otis come back was it last month or 2 months ago that really stirred the pot, if you can say, for the Culmination, because he is you guys are all tough. Let me preference this. You guys are all tough, but he is your workhorse. He is your mule that just does business.
I think that when Sean Phoenix decided to throw that fireball into Otis's face, I don't think any of us were kind of ready to lose him like that, and it really did hurt us for a while. He's an original member of this group when it all began, and I think it took us a couple months to get onto our own feet without him, and for the group to move on without him. We, Atticus and I had many discussions about where we went from there, and obviously Atticus was deeply affected, but I think it lit a fire under all of our asses, and now Otis is able to come back to, like I said, the Culmination's still around, thriving, stronger than ever, and I would like to say it was all part of the plan, but to be honest, we didn't know if he would ever come back, so I'm just happy to have him back in IWC with the Culmination, right where he belongs, as our workhorse, as our brute, and you need someone like that. We operate very dirty. We operate on our own terms, and Otis just embodies the power of the Culmination. He is the workhorse. He is our hammer, and I really don't see what anyone's going to be able to do now that he's back. I think we're pretty full force right now, and it feels good going into this Saturday.
Yeah, it does. We'll get more on that. Let's do the rewind that we like to do to get to know Remy. Guys, if you're going to zip through this Saturday, February 22nd, is Ignition at IWC. We'll touch on that more later, but we're going to... Remy, what got you into wrestling? Not what. Like, who? Was it Grandpa? Was it Mom, Dad? Like, who sat you down and said, you need to watch this because this is the greatest shit in the world?
Oh, it was easily my dad, for sure. My dad was awesome in terms of, always having wrestling on, showing me wrestling, taking me to wrestling. This was probably like around 96, 97. And, all of my first memories of wrestling are from the house I grew up in and going downtown for shows and just doing stuff with my dad. But yeah, it was definitely my dad, and he got me into a lot of stuff that I'm still into today. But I think it got to a point where as I got older and I got more into it, he was kind of like over it, and certainly he supports and loves it now, but it got to a point at one point where I was like crazy about it. I think he was like, my mom was certainly probably, more concerned and angry at my dad for planting the seed. But no, I'm just kidding. But
those mothers always looking out for their little boys. Trust me, I know.
Hey, I put her through a lot, but that's Mom. She always supports.
Did you share some of your dad's favorites, or who were your favorites? Like, I picture, clearly you were a heel, and Dad was trying to keep you face, right?
Honestly, when I was younger, I liked Foley. Foley's like my favorite, and my dad really liked Mick Foley. That was like our common ground. Like, that was the wrestler that we both really liked, and obviously, I think he would have been doing Mankind when I first started watching. So
yeah,
Mankind and Cactus Jack and Terry Funk. I liked the older guys for some reason. Obviously, Crow Sting was huge for me. That's like my number one probably. But I liked a little bit of everything. I liked all the characters, and I think that's probably what I like most about wrestling, is that there's just variety, and I think that's important. And also, in 2020, super important that there's room for everyone. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely staying. My dad was real into Bruno being from Pittsburgh. He was really into Jesse Ventura and George Steele. He liked the goofy Hulkamania era.
Hey, that's my era. Stop throwing me under the bus too.
No, hey, I love those guys too.
I love what you said there, so I'm going to jump around questions now. You said that there's something for everybody in 2020. So let's just break it down now. There's WWE, there's NXT, there's AEW, there's NWA that's getting red hot with the Crockett Cup, by the way. That would be something I would love to see the Culmination kind of slide into. The Crockett Cup has just been announced for April 19th now in College Park, Georgia. If Culmination can squeak in there, I will be going nuts when I'm down there. But that's a side note. We'll talk about that later. I love how you said there's something for everybody. Do you get to watch everything and kind of compare it, saying, I like this on WWE, I don't like this on AEW, I love NWA? Where are you with wrestling today?
I think that the variety is awesome. I mean, it's just more wrestling, obviously. As fans, as we all are, there's just you have choice. And for a while, there wasn't a lot of choice, or you had to. It's been not only with wrestling, but just technology and where technology is today. It's made it very accessible and affordable. I'll say it's pretty affordable, which I think is cool. Even if you just have YouTube, you can. That's what I think is really cool about the NWA and what hooked me on watching that was that it was just on YouTube. It was easy. I could throw it on whenever it would pop up, and I'm on YouTube a lot throughout the day. So I thought that was sick. That basically it's nice. I really like NWA. I think the whole throwback aesthetic, and they're aware of it and they play with it and they use it to their advantage. I think that's sick. Obviously, I love Smashing Pumpkins. Billy Corgan is awesome, and I would also love to see the Culmination there. Maybe I'll have to put something in motion here and see if I can reach out, but I think we'd be a great fit. I think we have a very new school taste, but it's cool because they're, taking new and young and up and coming wrestlers and some older wrestlers, some big names, and they're putting them against this kind of throwback, aesthetic. And it's just, I like simple, to the point wrestling, and you don't have to think about it. I like that stuff too, New Japan and stuff, and all that crazy technical stuff is awesome, but it's cool that you can kind of sync up. There's so many options that you can kind of sync your mood up with whatever you want to watch, even with the network and everything. There's just so many options. You can go and get a little bit of everything.
It's almost like, the English professor says this a lot, but it's the new golden age of wrestling. There's not said territories, but there's said territories, and it's just bringing wrestling back to, which I think is the greatest part, the 80s, when shit was just running amok all over instead of focused in Stamford, Connecticut. I can say it, you don't have to, but yeah.
No, and I mean, I grew up with, early WCW and the Attitude Era and a lot of those guys that had come out of the 80s and stuff. And like I said, the 80s is probably, I was born in 89, LaVey's old. But my favorite, that hands down, just all my favorite stuff comes from the 80s, music and I like 80s wrestling, but my favorite stuff's probably just because I think everyone says this, is just the stuff I remember from being a kid. And there was just that was the big birth of the internet. So wrestling on the original internet and all the kind of stuff that went along with that, and kind of just where culture was at that point is probably where all my my nostalgic and kind of that's my favorite stuff. But the 80s aesthetic, like I said, is awesome, and the throwback feel is really nice because everything is, you have WWE and they do it really well, but everything is super HD and super flashy, and that's great. I mean, that's why they're on top. But it's nice to, I don't always need all that, and sometimes I just want to be more entertained and dig into the characters. And the characters there, you know, they're easy to digest and they're unique, and it's all kind of done with this, the way they set it up and the way they pace the show, and they have the interviews and the crowd. And I think they do it. I don't know if they're still doing it at Center Stage, but I've never worked there, but it's a great venue. I've been there for wrestling, and I just think that's cool that you can tell Corgan's always been a huge fan, and I'm just glad to see that he's like finally like gets to do something that's working out and successful and really, really good.
Yeah, because the Smashing Pumpkins weren't that successful, were they, Remy?
No, you know, in the wrestling world.
I know. I'm giving you flack. So, what was your biggest influence, or who was your biggest influence, or what made you decide, barring, you know, you liking it as a kid, what made you sign up and say, I'm going to wrestling school and I'm going to be a professional wrestler?
So I kind of like got back in, well, throughout high school I was still into wrestling, but I wasn't paying attention to it as much. It probably wasn't until around like 2008, 2009 that I started to get like really heavy into it and super heavy into the indies. And that was due to just becoming really good friends with someone who I knew through like going to shows and like Pittsburgh hardcore music and stuff. He's like one of my best friends now, but at the time we had just started hanging out, and he was like diehard through and through, never ever stopped watching, slowed down or anything, and he like was like this, like just knows everything. He's the man. Shout out to Ty Dawson. Used to come to IWC like all the time. Back in the day, he's the one that took me to IWC for the first time, and me and him just started going to a ton of indie shows. We were going to Philly all the time for CZW and Chikara and ROH and IWC all the time, and it's crazy because it's like that's when Elias was just coming around, and Gory and Sod and DJZ. Got to see all those guys like just starting out, which is really weird to think about now. It's like it seems like that was like yesterday. It's crazy. It's true that they say that, but
it's true though.
Yeah, but yeah, it's basically kind of like I think what pushed me was like kind of getting back into it. Like obviously, like I when I was really young is when I was like super in love with it the most, and now I'm in love with it but in a different way on the other side of things. But that like I said, that's kind of like when I got back into it in 2008, 2009. I was in going to shows. I was like appreciating it more for, you know, what made a good match. And when you're younger, or when I was younger, I was more focused. Like I knew what a good match was when I saw like Hoovy and Ray and stuff and Jericho. Like I knew what a good match was, but I was more entertained by just like the characters, and obviously Attitude Era, things were way different. It was
slightly
whole, like
Yeah, but it tied in perfectly with everything that like time, like new metal and Attitude Era, and like I was definitely, you know, it's probably not hard to imagine a young Remy, but you know, not much has changed. But yeah, getting back into it and appreciating the indies, and like realizing that that there was somewhere to go to learn how to do it, and obviously IWC was my first choice. And I'm really glad that, despite everything, despite maybe how I feel about them now, it was obviously the right choice. They obviously have the best school, hands down.
You read my mind again, as I was going to say, tell everybody where you went, because I always think, you know, talking to all the wrestlers that, you know, you guys are on the up-and-coming list, you're there and everything, but you need to give credit to where credit's due to help you get into where you are in training and everything. So let's talk about, even your feelings now, let's talk about the trainers that have made you a success.
I can put aside my current feelings for IWC and Justin Plummer and what they've done to the Culmination. I can put it aside, and say that the IWC school is where you go when you want to learn the right way. And not that there's not other good schools out there, but for me that was like the only option. And I was trained by Justin Idol, and he was kind of like my main trainer. And Super Hentai was also there. They would kind of like switch off, and then we'd have people like Jake Garrett and Jimmy Nuts and Chris LaRusso and so many people, DJ Z, so many people would come in and kind of help out, and like we would get a day with them, kind of sit under their learning tree. And this is crazy because it was like back in 2013 is when I had graduated, which is like really crazy. But yeah, it was like Palace was practically like finishing up in my class. He was like a year ahead of me. So when I went and had my tryout, like Palace was there and Justin Idol was there, and I passed the tryout. I think they probably passed a lot of people, and it's kind of like to see if you're going to make it. And it's crazy to say that I'm the only one from my class left. I think it's been that way for a couple of years. And I bet a lot of people would have, you know, wouldn't believe if you told them that back then, that I would be the only one to make it. But
wow.
But yeah, I think I'm the only one still doing it, and I think it's been that way for quite some time.
Well, that's good to know. Remy, we've been coming to IWC for, holy crap, now I think it's been 7.5, 8 years, pretty religiously. I had to miss one in 2017 because I had to get married on one. I had to miss another one last year because another buddy got married.
Everyone's getting married. It's okay.
Okay, all right. Everybody's getting married. Yeah. So it's just, we've seen the growth of Remy. We really have, and the steps are continuing to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, again, with the Culmination taking over IWC, pretty much, it's pretty amazing. But let's talk about some of your titles. You're a multi-time tag team champion, not just in IWC, but around other places too. Do you feel tag team is your strength, or it's just, I don't want to say you get lucky. It's just it's nice to have a partner to rely on, or do you really love singles and you just haven't been given a damn chance?
I think that it all depends on the occasion and who I'm paired with. I've been in a lot of tag team matches in my career, and I like collaborating. I do like working with someone and sharing those moments with a partner. Getting victory in a tag match, in winning tag titles, is something I've been able to do, both with, as everyone should know, my history with Keith Hott. Regardless of the past, I'm very proud of that moment. And also the Black Diamond Wrestling Tag Team titles with Matt Conard. I'm also very proud of that run. And I love those guys very much. I love working with them. And, I think that when you collaborate with someone and when you put your heads together, especially when you're going up against another tag team, you kind of think of everything that you're going into a little differently than you do in a singles match. I've had matches where I've teamed with Atticus where the pace is very fast and the stuff that we're putting together is somewhere between my style and his style. And that's really cool to kind of, be that amped up. And I obviously am trying to keep up with his ass. So that's always fun. But then, like we said, like I could be teaming with Otis, and we're going to try and slow down the pace, hit hard, get in, get out, leave a couple bodies in the ring. Corbin, Silent But Deadly, the up-and-comer, I'm very proud of him. He's been working very hard. We have a tag team match coming up against the Hossman at 2PW, and I'm looking forward to kind of helping him. And it's been a work in progress. I've taken him under my wing since we brought him into the Culmination, and he's coming into his own. I'm excited to see what develops, and I think that he will do great on his own as well as in tag team matches. That's kind of the culmination, training camp. We train you to be good at everything, every aspect.
Be a silent assassin, right?
Exactly. You got to be well versed.
So you've partnered younger in your career with one of the greatest tag teams in the world against another pretty gosh darn good tag team. You were on the same team with Demolition, and you took on the Powers of Pain. Did you pick their ears? Because it's unbelievable. It had to have been unbelievable standing in the ring with those four men.
That was very surreal. I still have the picture of myself with Demolition. I need to go back and find that, or track Rogers down and get that footage. But that was a very special night. They were a pleasure to work with, and it was an honor, and it was something that I was really proud and excited to tell my friends, and especially like my dad. So that was really cool. And I mean, I had my black leather jacket already ready to go. I was young, hungry LaVey, and I think it was a good fit. We got to wrestle Powers of Pain. Barbarian almost killed me, and but I made it out alive, and I get to say I tag team with Demolition. Some things like that, it's easy to take those things for granted, just with how busy wrestling is, and it keeps you moving forward weekend to weekend. It's always like, okay, on to the next thing. Even when you pour your heart out or you have a really cool moment, I think in wrestling, that moment, it always has like a shelf life because it never stops. And that can be overwhelming at times. Part of me loves it, wouldn't have it any other way, but it's crazy. Like, people bring stuff up to me all the time, and I realize how long ago it was, or maybe I hadn't thought about it in a long time. And that was a night that was really cool. And like I said, I was just little kid, just freaking out about it. And it was one of my first times even being in a ring, I think, with like a legend or a name, or, it was kind of like one of those first few times where like I had felt proud that I had earned, the opportunity to have someone think that I would be a good fit with Demolition. That's insane. So, that was really cool. And Rogers gets a lot of flack, but I appreciate him for giving me that opportunity.
Did Dad make it out to that one? Because I would imagine that would be one that Dad would mark out over.
You know what? I can't remember if I even knew that was happening until like I got there. But it was in Billtown, I know that. So I don't think my dad made it to that one. That would have been very cool. But my dad was there when I won the tag titles with Keith Hart against the Fraternity in Meadville with Booker T. And I think that I think he saw that and was like, all right, I'm good. Like I can rest knowing that, there's something to this. It's not just a waste of time. And my dad's super supportive anyway, so I think that one was cool. But I obviously would have loved him to be there for Demolition. But I think there's actually a really cool story. I'll just tie it into Booker T. When I was like Attitude Era LaVey, probably 10, 9, 10, my dad used to race like NASCAR on the independents, essentially, like the equivalent of indie wrestling, where it was like indie NASCAR. And he bought Dale Waltrip's old car, and he had like this like legit race car all of a sudden, and was traveling like to like Watkins Glen and stuff, and he had like a truck and everything, and had like a mechanic. It was like legit. And I guess one time he was at a race, and a lot of the WCW guys were like super into it, and I think there may have even been like a WCW car or something on this show or something.
There was at one point, yes. Yep.
Yeah. But Stevie Ray was there, and my dad was like, yo, my son loves wrestling. You need to, I'm going to call him. You need to talk to him. He'll freak out. So my dad called me on the house phone, and this is literally like 1999, like 1998 or something. And he's like, hey, I'm here, and with someone wants to talk to you. and he handed the photo to Stevie Ray. And basically, Stevie Ray just, I think I asked Stevie Ray if, like, Sting was there.
Of course.
Like, which I felt really bad about now, but I was like, hey, like, this is really cool, but, yo, is Sting there? Like, but no, what's really cool is that, like, a couple years ago, I actually reached out to Stevie Ray and told him, like, that I was wrestling now, and, like, that he had called and talked to me when I was really little, and, like, that I had that moment with Booker T. And, like, that's the kind of stuff that's, like, the coolest to me, is, like, moments like that. You know, it makes it just kind of puts everything in perspective. So that was a cool story to tie it all in. But,
that actually is a great story.
What was that?
I said that's actually a great story, how it all ties in. That's amazing. Yeah.
I want to get Stevie Ray we need to get Stevie Ray in IWC. I need to put that out.
Yeah.
Put that out there.
Justin Plummer, you need to make that happen. You brought up the fraternity, okay? Longest reigning IWC Tag Team Champions. And
One of the best.
And we're going to transition into the Keith Hart stuff. But you and Keith defeated them, and you said the best. I can't disagree with you. Channing Decker and Trent Gibson are amazing. They should be places that they're not right now.
I agree 100%. I think that, especially Channing, I know he just got back from Japan, and he's doing his hardcore Channing Decker. He's going into that phase of his career, and he's just killing it. And I think, if not Channing, I think Trent's still wrestling. I'm not sure. I haven't seen him as much. I do miss them. Had many great matches with them, despite them taking the belts from us. You know, that was a crazy match inside the cage. You know, they deserved it. But, yeah, I mean, I think that Channing, at least, will be somewhere very soon. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. I know he's doing stuff up in Canada, where they're from and stuff, killing it up there. And, yeah, I think he just got back from Japan.
He did. He did.
Yeah, guys like get back at IWC.
Yeah, I reached out to Channing recently, and he did just get back from Japan. Trent's playing video games like a son of a bitch all over YouTube and everything. Shout out to Trent.
Gibbs is my boy. I'm a big Trent guy.
Yeah.
He knows that.
So, the Keith Hart thing. You guys lose the titles. This is a couple months down the line, but, kind of snap and you go away. And this is when you come back, with the culmination and everything. We saw that you went someplace dark, and you're still, air quotes, dark. Where did you really go? Like, you look like you were just around a pallet company in some of the things, just like you were just lingering by the dark side or a dock or something. Where was this place?
Well, the truth is, Justin Plummer basically chose to ignore the fact that people wanted to see me do my thing in IWC. The people had spoken. He chose to ignore it. And basically they were like, yo, we don't have anything for you. You've heard it a million times. And I was like, all right. And instead of wasting my time, I stayed loyal. I've always stayed loyal. There were a lot of places that were in my ear. There were a lot of places I could have went. There are a lot of offers on the table. Just put it that way. And instead, because I knew that one day I would be exactly where I am right now, and I knew that patience was going to be key if I was going to get the power that I wanted eventually. I knew that it wasn't going to be an overnight thing. So I went everywhere I could, basically, in Ohio, West Virginia, Philadelphia, and I just started traveling on my own and getting better and training and spreading my message essentially on my own. And it was something that I just knew how to do from always being around being involved in something that I would have to promote on my own, or very DIY mentality from doing music and stuff. And when I started wrestling, I knew that was going to be an advantage for me to, kind of a lot of similarities between the two. So I was ready to, pull my resources together and make it happen without IWC. And I definitely developed a chip on my shoulder. But it was good. It was motivation, and the Culmination was born in Cleveland, and I was having some really good matches up there. I was having really good matches everywhere, it seemed, but IWC. And the relationship between me and Keith had run dry. I couldn't pretend that I was satisfied anymore. I couldn't pretend that was enough for me. And, people can call it dark. They can call it whatever they want. But the truth is, I felt like I was finally able to just be myself and embrace the things that really do inspire me, and not be so cookie cutter just to try and please management or please the more simple-minded fans. And that essentially is the result of where I am now, is dedication to myself, to my own beliefs, to my own set of standards, and implementing, that doctrine into the Culmination has kind of been my role in terms of our outlook, our motivation, and kind of our doctrine, if you will. I've kind of been in charge of the ethos of the Culmination. But like I said, I knew it was going to be a game of patience, and here we are today.
Holding the power once again.
Money with the reset button.
Right. We saw Otis just return, and Bourne's there, you and Addie. There's always this Culmination that has a friendship, use friendship in my air quotes again, Remy, with Gory. I know Gory has transitioned into whatever the hell he is now, but is Gory a stepping stone, or is Gory a spy, somebody, a sniper for you guys? Because Gory's always lingering with you guys as well.
Dealing with Gory is kind of like dealing with a schizophrenic. You're never really sure what Gory you're going to get. And like I said, I think that, with all the different combinations of the Culmination, there is something about IWC that, I remember the day that the Culmination showed up to IWC. I know Gory wasn't happy about it, and I think that at first, that Gory has so much pride, and as you saw, it ended up just getting him pretty much murdered by us. I think that his pride has just cost him too much, and like I said, I grew up watching Gory at IWC, and I've seen him put on banger after banger after banger, only to be, pushed away or shied away by Plummer, or moved, to the undercard, or, having to do things that I know that he's better than. And I think that us showing up there kind of just pushed him over the edge. And we obviously tried to extend the hand many times. And for some reason, I think it's just that the fact that he's been there for so long, and he has so much support there, and the people love him. And I really don't even think that the people would want to see him with us. Why would they? So, I don't know. He's going to do what he's going to do when it comes to IWC, and there's not much I can do about it now. Angelic, who knows? Who knows what's going on with that? I just hope that eventually he comes around and realizes, hey, we'll always be here for him. That's all we were trying to show him was, you know, who his real brothers are.
Brothers in blood. Yep.
Sometimes brothers don't want to listen, but we'll be patient. Like I said, our whole game has been very patient.
One more I want to bring up before we get into some of the crazy questions that we are starting to ask. Sean Phoenix, is he going to continue to knock on your door? Are you guys pushing him to the side?
I'm going to be dealing with Sean Phoenix my entire career. I have a match March 28th coming up with Sean Phoenix for Route 33 Wrestling. And I look forward to stepping into the ring with Sean Phoenix. Always, before even the incident happened, he had brought a lot out of me in terms of training, preparing my moves, my psychology. The way when you get into the match with Phoenix, you have to be prepared. Same with Patch for that. Even Gory to an extent, even Addy to an extent, the high risk. And I have to kind of wake that part of my defense up and level that up to make sure that I'm ready for all that velocity and speed. But I think that Sean Phoenix is just a stubborn son of a bitch, to be honest. And I think that as long as the Culmination is around, we will always be connected to Sean Phoenix. He will always be connected to us. And, I mean, kid has to have superhuman powers or something. He's back. And he's still a thorn in our side. So, literally, like, back from the dead. So, I think that Sean Phoenix and Culmination are stuck in some weird Mobius strip. And we're just destined to just do this forever. And, like I said, as long as the Culmination's around, I don't see Sean going anywhere.
He really is unbreakable. No matter what you guys do to him, what happens, you know, air quotes, outside the wrestling ring, you know, with his injury and everything, the guy is unbelievable. He's a freak of human life. That's just pulling the curtain down for a minute. It's unbelievable what he's battled back from.
We just need him out of our business, and we'll get to that. We'll settle it once and for all. It's a process, but it will be addressed.
All right, let's take a little step away from wrestling for a little bit. And you've brought up music a few times, just in this podcast, and even when we've talked outside. What are your 3 favorite bands?
Oh, that's tough. I'd say there's a band from Chicago called Kill Hannah that was kind of like Smashing Pumpkins, and they're like a lesser known band, but I have a very like special connection with them, and they all became really close friends. So they got to be my number 1 favorite band. Number 2, I'm going to put The Cure in number 2, and 3, I think I'd have to put as kind of like just my overall probably like favorite metal band would be toss up between Metallica, probably Metallica. I think that's my top 3. Kill Hannah. I don't know, maybe Entombed instead. Kill Hannah, The Cure, and Metallica. I think that's a good 3 to represent my taste.
Yeah, 2 out of the 3. I don't know Hannah, but I know The Cure and I know Metallica. And
I like all that stuff. And Joy Division and New Order. I love a lot of crazy music. I love 80s goth pop stuff. I like a lot of hardcore and punk and thrash, old metal, new metal, like current metal. I like it all. So I think like lately I've been listening to a lot of Stone Temple, I've been listening to a lot of Core. I've been listening to, from California, hardcore punk stuff. This band called Drain. My friends in Code Orange, they have a new record coming out. They have an awesome new single out right now, Swallowing the Rabbit Hole. Go check that out. they did the new Bray Wyatt theme. So yeah, they're killing it right now. They're probably currently my favorite band is Code Orange, Pittsburgh Zone.
What is the one song that you are embarrassed to tell anybody that you love?
Ooh, see, because there's like a lot of goofy ones, but like I'd have to be truly embarrassed. Probably it's a Maroon 5 song. I just heard it.
That's enough right there. Never mind. You don't have to answer it. Never mind. If it's Maroon 5, you're done.
One More Night. Great. Good song.
Okay. I thought you'd go a little crazier, but
I'm down with Levine.
I see that. I see that.
LaVey endorses Levine.
Good.
You get him a shirt.
I picture you into
Maroon 5, I guess. Or Dave Matthews.
Dave, I can give you Dave. I picture you into
There's some good Dave.
A lot of
hate that shit when I was younger, but I like it now.
I picture you into a lot of like horror films, gory movies. No pun on words there. But what are your 3 horror flicks that you can watch at any point in your life?
3 favorite horror movies?
Yeah.
Probably Massacre has to be my number 1. Let's see, what else? What would be 2? Hills Have Eyes. And 3, I'm going to go with, I got to really think about it. It's probably going to be a toss-up between Creepshow or The Thing. Probably The Thing.
Hey, okay.
Runner-up would be The Shining. Can always watch The Shining.
Yeah, I was going to say The Shining's always one of my favorites. I like that one. What's one of your guilty pleasures? And I'm food-related because, for God's sakes, I don't know where this question could go. But what's one of the things that – I know you eat healthy. What's one of the things that when you break to eat something, do you eat a bag of M&Ms or what the hell goes on?
What is my, favorite treat?
Yeah.
Unhealthy treat?
Of course. That's what a guilty pleasure is.
Okay, I'm going with any of the Reese's eggs or hearts or trees.
You can't go wrong with chocolate and
Literally
peanut butter.
anything Reese's. I'm a big Reese's guy lately. It's weird. My dad used to do this, and now I do it. I go through phases of only getting one type of snack or candy. So I was a big Snickers phase. Now I'm on to these Reese's.
So it's got to be chocolate for you? Can it be just a sugary substance?
I like candies. I like frozen coffees and sugary bullshit drinks and stuff like that. What else? What else is a guilty pleasure? I mean, I don't know. Chipotle? I don't know if that counts.
Yes, that is perfect. Chipotle. That is completely unhealthy, but great.
Five Guys. Any of the chain, the overpriced stuff is good.
It is. And that's why it's overpriced, because there's morons like me and you that'll go there every day and buy it.
I support it.
I do too.
100%.
I do too. Look at me. Compared to you.
You gotta have the LaVey is 50% healthy, 50% unhealthy, and that's just in my DNA. That's how I roll.
Is that rolled down from Dad?
Cancels it out. No. I think I've developed that on my own.
Oh, good. All right, so this Saturday is Ignition, and Addie has the reset button. We're going to roll back around to that. And you guys are not on any of the flyers, any of the posters,
What else is new?
Are you guys taking a month off, or are you just, what the hell's going on, Justin Plummer?
You'll have to take it up with the boss, man. He seems to be quite hard to get a hold of. I've given up on that a long time ago. But let's just say that the Culmination will be there, and we have some plans.
And that's well said. I mean, you don't want to give those plans away. You have.
I mean, when we say reset the system, it's not like we're just trying to come up with something catchy. You know, we have a very serious. I can have fun. I can, you know, go on this podcast and have fun. But we have a very serious agenda, and when it comes time to execute, there's no playing around, and we are focused, and there will be no different going into this Saturday, regardless of what's been announced, regardless of what stupid legend Plummer is forking out a bunch of money for, or whatever homegrown talent they think is going to be the next big thing. It's only going to work IWC once a month. Yeah, it's getting old, and we're getting sick of it, and now Atticus has the means to change it on our terms, and we're there to essentially make sure that happens.
So that's this Saturday. You have some pretty big announcements, don't you, that you want to bring to the table about someplace in Tampa? Is that what I heard?
It's been announced, but this is the first time I've mentioned it on a live platform. Atticus and I will be teaming together at the Fest Wrestling show, Metalcade, WrestleMania Weekend, Saturday, all day, 1 to 8. And what's really cool about this is not only is there all day wrestling with some of the biggest rising stars, you have Effie on the show, you have Priscilla Kelly. Like I said, myself and Atticus will be there. Joey Ryan. It's a really stacked card, top to bottom. Some really good guys and girls from Fest and from the Florida scene as well. And not only is there wrestling, but two of my favorite bands in a really kick-ass band that I need to check out called Bloodlet are playing. It's going to be Bloodlet Municipal Waste. It's like an awesome thrash band, sounds like Anthrax, and one of my favorite bands, metal bands all time, Tampa Zone, OG death metal heads, Obituary are playing. So just another kind of crazy pinch yourself moment. Last year, it was a goal of mine to wrestle WrestleMania Weekend, and myself and Atticus were able to do that. And the goal was the same this year. And now to be wrestling on a show at some of my favorite bands is just going to be a party and a huge opportunity for the Culmination, spreading out not only for WrestleMania Weekend, but getting down to Florida, getting to head down south. Florida, obviously one of the sickest cities or states, I should say, for wrestling. And Tampa is just a really cool city to kind of host this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. Can't wait to. Atticus obviously has a ton of awesome stuff that weekend. Make sure you check out the Fest Wrestling Instagram to get all the info on the show, and I'm really looking forward to that. We got some other cool stuff. I have some stuff that I've been working on, almost like I think it's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to do it digitally or if there will be a digital and a physical copy, but a kind of like a behind-the-scenes look at the Culmination, maybe some matches on there, maybe like a documentary-style interview with all of us, and hoping to have that by the end of the year, and started to kind of put that together in my head, and hopefully we'll get that going in the spring. But I'm really excited for that. Can kind of bring some of my outside wrestling talents, there to make something cool. But I think the fans and anyone who's kind of followed any of us, I think it'll be really cool for them to kind of give them a behind-the-scenes look, as well as some of our matches. Like I said, crazy combinations of all of us, 6-mans, me and Addy tagging, maybe some Coker Brother matches, maybe even some stuff from Cleveland with Gory, matches with Jimmy Jacobs, matches with Abyss. There's so much cool stuff that we've gotten to do individually and as a group while representing this faction. And I just want to be able to put it all together and give the fans something that's different and something that I would like to watch as a fan, I guess. Growing up, always was really into, tour documentaries and bands putting out, VHS and DVDs of their tour, and you'd always get to see behind the scenes, and then you'd get to see, like, some of your favorite songs in front of huge crowds and stuff, and mixed really well, and it just like a nice package. So might even look into trying to do a cool, like, limited VHS copy. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming up. We got Remix coming up, and a lot of cool stuff happening at Premiere. And yeah, I'm really excited for this year. It's already been super busy. Just had a crazy, just actually lost my Full Throttle title this last weekend to Chase Oliver in a 3-way with him and with Tommy, TKD, and it was a crazy match. Hope to have that up soon. Got to get the title back, but hey, I had a good run, and proud of that as well. So yeah, man, I mean, the support means a lot, especially from you guys, all the cool podcasts, and like I said, wrestling has, there's something for everyone, not just within, the ring, but outside. The community of wrestling and wrestling fans have really pulled together to, without you guys, there's not us. Sounds corny, but it really is true. And especially on the independent scene, we need all the support we can get. And it's really cool to see all the different types of podcasts and shows and all the stuff that people are doing now, just through the love of wrestling. So yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm really excited for I'm dubbing it the documentary. I really am. When you told me about that earlier when we were talking offline, I'm like, damn, I can't wait. As long you said VHS.
That's a Can Crusher exclusive, baby. I haven't announced that to anyone. Or this is the first time breaking that news. So now I really have to do it and make sure I get it done.
Yeah, you damn well better. You said VHS. I was worried that you were also going to say beta, too. I was going to say, holy shit, if you're going on VHS, wow.
No. I just think that would be cool. Like I said, like I used to, growing up, I'd go to like media play and
tape traders. Yes.
Yeah, you get your tapes, and wrestling was always on VHS for me growing up. And like we were talking about horror movies, like I was a VHS kid growing up. My dad had like way ahead of the time, like a really nice like double VCR, and we'd rent movies and he'd like bootleg them. So I have like everything with just like homemade labels, like everything I grew up on watching. I still have I kept all that stuff. So I have literally a VHS player hooked up to my TV right now, and there's just something about it. I mean, it's simple, simpler times, but
so did my parents. So did my parents.
I'm a VHS freak. If anyone out there has any old VHS tapes, hit me up. Hit my line. Make me an offer.
Nice. We can't let you go. There's more questions. You sound like you were like, all right, wrap this up and get out of here. But no, there's questions that need to be answered yet.
No, you're good. I've got nothing but time.
It's concerning you. What we always like to ask these last three. What was the best advice you got from anybody, a month into, a year into wrestling? What was that best advice that you want to now pass that along to the next kid?
Just like definitely for me, probably just like keeping my mouth shut. It wasn't like maybe not so much keeping your mouth shut as much as just making sure you just listen. And I think that really helped me. Is like I think that I just get anxious and I talk probably when I shouldn't, as kind of just like a nervous reaction. Especially when you first start, I would say I'm not really like that now, but like in terms of when I first started, like, and I think that's normal for especially someone like me who's kind of, I'm not necessarily, I don't have an crazy athletic background. I came from, playing in bands and and on the maybe more creative side of things than physical. And I think that just always listening and always keeping an open mind and just kind of being able to, best thing is for me is being able to kind of step outside myself and self-critique myself and kind of bring myself back to reality sometimes when it's easy to get ahead of yourself, and especially when you first start. So I think that, keeping an open mind and also being able to kind of like observe your demeanor and just be kind of conscious and aware of how you conduct yourself, and putting yourself out there is also insanely important. Just not being afraid to talk to people, and one of the best parts is just being able to meet new people through wrestling, and don't be afraid to network, don't be afraid to ask questions, just be respectful and be self-aware at all times, where you're at, while you're doing it. And if you're doing it for the right reasons and you are respectful, I think everything else kind of just falls into place. But just always keep those ears open, and, don't be afraid to approach people, and don't be intimidated to ask questions. Just make sure that you're doing it at the right time, which would be, when after you've probably listened to some good advice, and to really take that advice. And even if you think it's bad advice, because you'll get really bad advice from people that shouldn't be giving advice, and there's a lot of that, and that kind of just comes with experience and just life experience in general, just kind of being able to sort through the bullshit. But in terms of wrestling, I think that find if you can find one thing in a critique that you can really relate to and focus on, and that you can agree with, and you'd be like, yeah, he's right, or they are right. I think that's really important. So don't be gullible, be respectful, and be open-minded, but also know yourself and know what is going to ultimately work for you.
Yeah, because without knowing who you are, you don't know who the fans or anybody else wants you to be, more or less, right?
Yeah, and I think that comes with time. I remember, like I said before, like I was trying to be what I thought that, a promoter wanted me to be, or what the fans wanted me to be. And once they get to know you and you take time to, I always take time to engage with the fans, always. And I appreciate their support so much. Like I said, they literally allowed me to keep doing this, and it's a two-way street. You got to have the fans, and you got to have the wrestlers. And I just am thankful for the position I've been put in. And yeah, I mean, that's essentially it. It's just a kind of a trust you have within yourself, and over time, as you try different things, and you're going to try and fail, and it's important to know what doesn't work and find out what doesn't work. But it's kind of just all part of the process. It's like a really nice, natural progression if you just stick it out and pay attention to yourself and to the crowd, and to kind of having that self-awareness of, you got to be honest with yourself a lot in wrestling. Like, I've had to be brutally honest with myself, and that's not always easy, but it's important, and usually it will help me take that next step forward.
One more serious question, and then we'll end on your, of course you can give out all your social media and everything, but my biggest question I like asking is just Remy himself. Take Remy out of the Culmination, make it just Remy, you're in a singles match. Who is your dream opponent? Where would you want this match to happen, and what would the stipulation be?
Oh, wow. It could be like anyone.
anyone. I say that all the time. Every one of you guys are like, who or anybody. If we could reverse time and you could fight, Dusty Rhodes or Macho Man or anybody, yeah.
I think it would have to be Foley, for sure. It would have to be Foley, Pittsburgh, Hell in a Cell. I think that came to my mind. I didn't have to think about that very hard. If I really, really think about this, it would drive me insane. But that's the first thing that just came to mind, and it seems that feels right to me. So for a lot of reasons, and I think that's what it would have to be. I mean, Cactus Jack in a hardcore match, but definitely in Pittsburgh. Has to be Pittsburgh. Have to do it for Pittsburgh.
This is a side note, not planned question.
Maybe in the igloo. We could bring the igloo back. That'd be pretty cool. I have a lot of good memories from that. That's what it would be. It would be King of the Ring style.
Were you at the Hell in the Cell when Foley got tossed off?
No, I wasn't. But I believe I was watching it with a friend, or I was watching it at home, or my dad had ordered it or something. But I wasn't there, and I was really bummed that I wasn't there because my one really close friend, when I was growing up, for our backyard and stuff, he was there. But no, it seems like everyone was there, but no, that was when I wasn't there.
This is one of the big questions that the rest of the Can Crushers have, and actually a few other people sit around us as well at IWC. When the Culmination first came out, you guys you looked like you just changed the oil out of a big rig, or you had the black streaks, the black masks, all the grease and the grime. Where did that go? Why haven't we seen that recently?
I've been actually flirting with the idea of bringing it back, and honestly, I think we just want it to be taken a little more seriously, and it's easy to kind of overdo something, and we're just the kind of dudes that, regardless if people like something or whatever, if we're not feeling it, we're going to change it up, and we've kind of just have gotten into we wanted to be taken more seriously, and not that it wasn't before, but I think it just comes with progression, and regardless if we're dirty or if I'm wearing makeup, the result's always going to be the same. And I don't think I've ever really looked too similar any two times.
No, I could say that. No, I don't think you have either.
So that's something that, I've actually been giving that a lot of thought lately, and I think that everyone's kind of working on giving themselves a little makeover, and I think you'll see some really cool looks, if you will, from the entire group a little bit later in the year as we kind of ride into this new era of the reset button. So with that will come all types of new merch and new stuff that we can have some fun with but it's always on our terms. It's always just stuff that we think's cool or stuff that we think looks cool, and that was just kind of the vibe, and we thought it was getting a little stale, and we wanted to show that we're more than just a Halloween costume. I think when we first were doing it, it kind of represented I know that because that was something that I took from Atticus and Otis, and I think it was representing kind of where they came from, Cleveland, dirty kind of blood, sweat, and tears upbringing. So, but like I said, some of my favorite bands and stuff, they've always switched up the look. The look's that's always been important to me. I think it's really important with wrestling, and I think that the Culmination is just kind of let me, how I really dress and my ring gear is really not that different. It's literally not different at all. So there's not a big difference, but I look forward to kind of spicing it up and making it my own. And I think we're all just finding our own identity while still trying to look cohesive.
Yeah, you guys are all going to look great with some gold around your waists at the...
Let's hope.
When that reset button is cashed in. Remy, I want to give you the platform again to give everybody your social medias, because good God, you are all over every social media that I don't even know about. I searched up and you have shit coming out your ass. So tell
I
everybody.
really am not even a big social media guy. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's exhausting, honestly.
But you signed up for every one of them.
What?
But you signed up for every one of everything.
Wrestling. I think, like boomer parents, like my parents, and wrestlers are like the two most active demographics on Facebook. If it wasn't for wrestling, I would not have my Facebook, but so much business gets done through Facebook. But I do check it. I do try and stay up to date on all of them, as tiring as it gets sometimes. I believe it's Remy LaVey on Facebook, RemyLavey, Twitter and Instagram. I like Instagram the most. I think that's probably probably everyone's opinion. But I'm probably the most active. I check all of them. So if you want to reach out, you can hit me up on any of those. But Instagram is probably what I check the most, and where we're usually posting and promoting my stuff and the Culmination stuff the most. Chances are, if something breaks, you'll hear about it first on there.
Or on Can Crushers, because you just broke that DVD documentary.
Very true. I look forward to when this drops, being able to bait some people into listening to hear that exclusive. Which, like I said, I'm really excited about it, and I was happy that I could finally get that out there.
I am too. All right, Remy. I will see you this coming Saturday at IWC Ignition as you guys reset IWC.
Thank you so much for having me. It's going to be one hell of a night.
So, as Remy just said, it is going to be one hell of a night. How about the Can Crusher exclusive that he dropped on us that I cannot wait? He says maybe by the end of the year. Remy, I know you're going to listen to this again to critique both me and you. Get your shit in gear and get this together. I'm excited to see it. It's a daunting task, but to have a documentary about the Culmination intrigues me. It really does. How about we shoot for at least Unbreakable to release that? I'll give you till October, because we can talk some more down the line, because this is actually a big to-do in October. Guys, I want you to remember that Unbreakable October for IWC has a big significance. It's going to mean a lot, nonetheless. It's going to mean a lot for Can Crushers, and if Remy can get his shit in gear to release this, we could partner together and do a little something. But the story about Booker T and Stevie Ray and his dad driving NASCAR, he asked if Sting was there. I understand. You were a kid. You were a youngster. You were a little Remy, and to ask if Sting was there when you already have, Harlem Heat on the phone. You have. What are you doing? Unbelievable. And Addie and Remy are going to WrestleMania Weekend. Oh my God! Things are happening in the Culmination. They really are. And it started with the reset button last month, and they are going to reset IWC. Again, thanks, Remy, for coming on. Can Crushers will continue to be in contact. We'll see you this Saturday. I'm pretty pumped up about everything. Guys, this is my favorite part of the podcast, not the end. Getting to talk with the talent, getting to know their backstory, leading into storylines, just continuing to push and develop everything we possibly can. If you'd like us to reach out to some people, go ahead. Send us an email at cancrushers69@gmail.com and say, hey, try to get so-and-so on. We would like to more about their past and so on and so forth. Or if you're a wrestler listening to this, same works. You send us an email and we'll get you scheduled. We're pretty booked until the end of March right now, which is pretty amazing. So we'll fit you in. We'll get you something. Guys, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all at CanCrusher69. That's where we are. You'll be able to get everything. All our social medias are easy. We're pretty simpletons. So head over to our website, https://cancrusher69.wixsite.com/cancrushers. It's linked to everything as well. You'll be able to go back and listen to all the interviews. They're on there. It's awesome. And on podcasts, we're everywhere as well. So, yeah, guys, it's turning out to be a wonderful IWC event this weekend, and IWC just does not let you down. So, all right, once again, thanks, Remy. And 2-to-1 Media, him and Nick Lendl bringing the intro. We always have to give them a shout out. They do a lot. Check them out.